Okay, now we are going to work on definition paragraphs. Definition paragraphs will never stand alone. They will always be used with either an enumeration, which you learned yesterday, or a clarification that we just went over. Let's go right into it, and then I'll explain a little bit more about how this paragraph is structured. If I have a prompt that asks for a definition, that is the only time that I will be using a definition paragraph. Here we say, discuss Minden's Spirit Week, so we know we have to have clarification. But then on there it says define Spirit Week. So then you know you have to have a definition if it's asking you to define something. The transition words are pretty similar to previous paragraphs here, except we add one. By definition will always be in there. If you are required to write a definition paragraph, you're going to have that transition word. And then, similar to other paragraphs, we will use for example, for instance, or to illustrate for our one example in this case. Let's look at the skeleton. If I'm going to indent like always and then have a topic sentence that includes me discussing Minden's Spirit Week, but they're also asking me for a definition, I have to have an extra sentence in there. So after your topic sentence, you're going to have the word you want to define, so Spirit Week, comma, by definition, comma, and then you're going to define that word or those words. So that's going to be your extra piece in a definition paragraph. You're going to always have the topic sentence, but then you're going to follow it with a sentence where you define the word they're asking for. Then you go straight into the rest of our typical SEE process. So now you'll have an example with the transition word starting it, and then you'll have an explanation. If you look at the model answer, you will understand a little bit better. So again, my prompt was discuss Minden's Spirit Week, define Spirit Week. I know I need a definition paragraph. I'm going to hook it on to a clarification because it's asking me to discuss it. So here is an actual response example. Indent. Minden Public Schools has a Spirit Week. That is my topic sentence. I'm covering and restating the prompt. But we want to know what Spirit Week means. So that's when we add the extra sentence. Spirit Week, comma, by definition, comma, is a week of festivities used to celebrate the spirit of Minden Public Schools, its students, and their athletics and activities. So I'm giving my own example of my definition that I would give for Spirit Week and adding that one sentence in there to define the term they're asking for. Then I move into the rest of my paragraph. I have a transition word, for example, and then I give an example of my own experience. The students pick a different costume theme for each day and can dress up for school. That is one example of what we do in our Spirit Week. Now I need to explain. This year, the students can dress up in their pajamas, in their sports gear, in their ugly sweaters, and in their neon colors. On Friday, the entire school will wear purple and white to show their Whippet spirit. So I have a couple sentences added on that explain what we do for Spirit Week, and that completes my definition paragraph. Very similar to a clarification paragraph, we just add one sentence in there because the prompt is asking us to define a certain term. So again, you're going to indent, you're going to have a topic sentence where you restate the prompt just like always, but then you're going to sneak in that definition sentence where you say, Spirit Week by definition is this. You'll move on to your other transition to introduce your example, and then you'll add your sentences to have an explanation. This is very rare. We don't often use definition paragraphs unless specifically it is asking for a definition. When I think you might use this would be science, if she's asking you to define a term, or even history if he's asking you to define a term, or even explain in detail a war or a battle or something like that. So although you might not think we use it very much in language arts, you're probably more likely to actually use it in other classes a lot of time on assessments. And in language arts, we would use it if we were confused on a term and wanted to explain it a little further. So definition is when we need to add a definition into our paragraph. Thanks.